So I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, Dan, where the hell have you been for the last few months? You've not made a video, you've not posted on Patreon, you've just been sat around doing nothing. But actually, I've been very busy, although the same can't be said for Boxman. Whilst he's been levelling up on his video games, I've been trying to level up my drawing skills, to then teach all of you guys. And I can't reveal everything that I've been working on just yet, but one thing that I can show you are these drawings of buildings that I had created for an upcoming drawing course. Some of these are also for the tutorials that I make on Patreon. And that's
if you sign up for the £5 a month tier, you'll get access to these videos and more.
Well, Boxgirl, well thanks for interrupting me. And for a shameless plug, have you not learned anything that I've taught you over the last few weeks?
Sorry, I got too excited.
Well, it's alright, it is quite exciting. And whilst we're on the topic, I may as well point out that with each of these tutorials, I also provide a perspective grid. This also includes a simple form for the building, which is a great starting point if you are following along and creating your own drawing.
I love those grids. They make drawing in perspective so much easier.
Yeah, they really do. In fact, that's why we're making this video. I'm going to show you guys how to create your own perspective grids. And in addition to that, I'm also giving away a collection of them to you for free, and I'll explain how to download these later in the video. So, first of all, why are perspective grids so useful? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is how frustrating it can be when you are drawing in perspective and a vanishing point is off the page, meaning you can't see it, and it could be very far away, depending on the angle of the object you are drawing. Let's take this box for instance. Here the left vanishing point is on the page, and that's great because I can easily extend some lines to that when drawing, but when it comes to the right vanishing point, this one is off the page. I know that the vanishing points have to exist on the horizon line at this level, but this one looks to be very far away. And how do I know that? Well, if I extend the lines of this box, which I know will be directed to that far away vanishing point, these would eventually meet at the horizon line. This is where that right vanishing point is, but look at how small the box has to be for us to keep these two vanishing points on our paper here.
That's tiny. How am I supposed to draw at such a small scale?
Well, you won't have to, because this is where a perspective grid comes into play. Now that I can see both of my vanishing points, I'm able to extend some grid lines from each of these across the paper like so. Although, this can take a long time. If only there was a way to speed this process up. I said if only there was a way to speed this process up. In the description of this video, I have included a link to a Gumroad page where you can download a very useful Photoshop plugin called Perspective Tools 2. Now this plugin allows you to do a number of things, but one thing that I'm able to do here is highlight the location of each of my vanishing points and then select grid, which will then, as the name suggests, generate a series of grid lines for you. Once you're happy with your grid, just scale this up again and start drawing. Of course, this does require you to work digitally, and I know that a lot of you watching don't have access to Photoshop, and so that's why I've created a series of grids for you to use. And I've created these in a very specific way. Let me explain. Throughout my Advanced Perspective series, I show you how to set up a perspective drawing in a way which allows you, as the artist, to decide on a specific angle for which you will draw the object on. I also demonstrate how to draw with any camera lens, changing the angle of view and in turn how the box appears. To put it simply, I've created a series of grids based on the most commonly used cone of vision, which has an angle of view of 60 degrees. Emulating a standard lens with a 35mm focal length. The box is rotated on 3 different angles. These are all 2-point perspective grids.
I get it. And each of these grids are different, because as we change the angle at which the box is drawn on, the vanishing points also move, which then means that the grid lines have to move as well.
That's correct, and if we take this box for instance, and remember that this box could be any drawing that you create, you know, right now this is directly facing us, it's viewed in 1 point perspective, you can see a plan view at the side there. Now, as Scott Robertson mentions in his How to Draw book, there's a few common combinations when it comes to drawing objects on angles in perspective. Because we are dealing with a box and its planes are at a right angle, these angles need to total to 90 degrees. The grids that I've provided are for a box or drawing with each of these combinations. You can also mirror these grids to flip them round.
Okay, good. Now how do I get these grids?
I'm giving these away as an incentive for signing up to my newsletter that I've just created. What? Am I not allowed to have a newsletter? It's what all the other content creators are doing these days. Besides, it's a way for me to keep in touch and also update our audience on what we're working on. In the description of this video, there's a link to a landing page where you can sign up. You'll then receive an email for you to opt in and download the grids. Now, in addition to those grids, I've also created another set which are available to you guys over on my Patreon page. The difference here is that these grids are based on a camera with a different lens, one that's similar to a wide angle lens. Also, as I mentioned earlier, with each tutorial that I create there, I also provide a grid specific to that to help you follow along. And I will eventually create some 3-point perspective grids, but all in good time. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. I've got some good stuff coming, so look forward to that, and I will see you in the next video.